Hey, it's Adriana, and this is my review of The Hobbit. Okay, I should start off by saying that I'm going to come forth and be very honest. I'm not a big fantasy person, and I actually haven't seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies. I haven't read any of the books. I've read some of The Hobbit that I had to read for class, and I didn't even finish reading it because I didn't really like it. But I did go to see the movie, The Hobbit, and it wasn't like awful as I kind of thought it might be, just because I just don't like fantasy. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of like adventure. I mean, if you watch my reviews, you probably have a sense of the kind of movies that I watch. It's not really, The Hobbit, but I wanted to give this movie a chance because, everyone's kind of in love with these books and these movies. So yeah, just keep that in mind as I give this review because, I guess most people are, fantasy people. Myself, I like reality, I guess, and I just don't understand this world with these really gross, disgusting creatures. And I'm not referring to the Hobbit or the dwarves or, those people, but there are some disgusting creatures in this movie that I don't know why people enjoy watching that. The movie is part 1 of 3, a book like that's this big apparently can make 3 movies, which is probably why this movie dragged out so long. It's almost 3 hours long. There's no reason for it to be almost 3 hours long. Had it been the whole book, it still would have been long, but it would have been, at least understandable. But as this is part 1 of a 3, that's a bit unreasonable for the first movie to be 3 hours long. Just saying, I don't know why they had to stretch that out and what they're going to put in the next 2 movies, because The Hobbit, if you don't know what it's about, if you're one of those rare people like me who otherwise, other than taking this class, wouldn't know what it's about Bilbo Baggins, who's a hobbit, which is, they're kind of human, but kind of more like not, kind of like smaller and have like furry feet and certain qualities that make them not human, I guess. And he's, very just to himself kind of fellow. Doesn't really like adventure, doesn't like anything out of the ordinary, likes living in his house, likes having tea, likes eating at a certain time, all that stuff. And he is, chosen to come on this adventure with these dwarves and Gandalf. We have a really great lead performance from Martin Freeman, who is really usually like the second guy in things, He has a small part in Love Actually, which I actually did a review for on We Live Film. If you want to check that out, I can link that in this. That just happened to come up that he was in that movie and I just reviewed it. He's in Sherlock, that TV show Sherlock. That's very popular on like BBC, I think. Anyways, he does a really good job with Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit. I really liked his performance. All the acting, it's fantasy, it's over the top, or it's, kind of cheesy sometimes and stuff. The movie it had its moments. It had some really good scenes that I liked. I really enjoyed the scene where everyone barges in on Bilbo and he's like, oh my god, everyone's in my house, like going crazy and not knowing what to do about it, and not liking this unexpectedness of everything. That scene was done really well. And I also like the scene with Gollum. If you've read the book, probably if you're watching this review, you care to seek this out, so you've probably read the book. That was a really good scene. I mean, there were some parts that were really good and really interesting, and then there were some parts that just dragged out, and I was actually, like, falling asleep because I'm like, what is happening? Like, there was no reason for it to drag out so much. So that's really one big thing I have against this movie. It just was long for no reason, and things weren't even, like, I guess these movies are made for people who've read it, and I guess most people have read it. I know I'm that rare person who hasn't, but it'd be nice to be able to have a good grasp of what's going on. without having read it. Like, I feel like that's the point of watching a movie. So, or maybe it was me. Maybe I just wasn't investing as much attention because I wasn't. It's not really the kind of movie I'm usually invested in. So I kind of maybe I separated myself a bit from it. But at the same time, I didn't really understand everything they were saying, and whatever. There was a lot of parts in this movie that were just really lost on me. But there was some really great humor in it. There was it's it has a fun vibe for a lot of the movie. It has some really nice visuals. The 3D was nice, but not completely necessary. I can say, like, it was nothing completely out of the ordinary or nothing that you wouldn't really get the same effect from 2D. I would say you can watch this movie in 2D. All the big moments were done really well. I knew them, again, because I had read some of the book, and I studied the book anyway. I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10, which is actually more than I expected to give it, because I thought I would just hate it. I thought I'd be very close-minded about it, and I thought I just wouldn't like it, because it's just not typically something I would like. But I did like a lot of the scenes in it, and it was entertaining for the most part. So yeah, I know you're all gonna go see it anyway. I know my opinion doesn't really matter in this case. But that is my review of The Hobbit. Take it or leave it. You can fight with me on this. I don't care because I expect it. And I still wanted to review the movie even though I didn't have very much intelligent things to say about it. But the people I saw it with really liked the movie, by the way, because they are big fans. I'm sure most people will like it. Just didn't have that magic spark that it needed to rise above and beyond the typical fantasy movie and make someone like me, who's not really a fan of that, still enjoy it. Anyways, again, thank you for watching my review, and if you want to see more reviews, subscribe and comment, and we'll talk about it.